Denny Van here with Heartfelt Awakening. I help you accelerate your personal and spiritual growth. And we are embarking on part 3 of the book, A Theory and Treatment of Your Personality by Garry Flint. And we are going to get right into part 3. And we're going to break it down into a step-by-step process. So let me share my screen. So we are moving right along in this book. And again, we are just going over the first 3 chapters that Dr. Flint provides for free on his website. And so we're going to be going over chapter 3 today, teaching the process healing method. So he begins right away with the outline. And first of all, this process healing method is a change process. So the first thing that you do is establish rapport, and it teaches you and the subconscious how the personality develops. So you have a basic understanding of how the inner workings of the personality develops. And then you're taught how to organize all of the aspects of your personality so that they work together, and all of the aspects or all of the parts. He uses aspects and parts interchangeably. And next, when all of the parts or the aspects want treatment and give permission. So it's very important that all of these parts within you, as they're integrated into the main personality, that all of them give permission. And then you read the metaphor teaching the treatment method to your subconscious. So everybody has to agree. So the subconscious is not going to be taught the metaphor on how to do this work. So it's just taught a little metaphor and the subconscious gets it. It knows what to do and it starts going to work right away. And then the education process gets every part of your personality on the internal treatment team. So the treatment team is you. It's all of your parts working together as one. And the goal of the education process is to get all of the parts to adopt a common goal and join the treatment team. So he's going to give some detailed instructions on how to motivate these aspects or parts of your personality so that they want to join the treatment team and join the main personality, and specifically what to say to describe the advantages. And we went over those in parts 1 and 2. So when all of the aspects want to join the treatment team and you give permission, then you read the metaphor teaching the treatment method to your subconscious. So this chapter 3, it's designed to teach you the process healing method by presenting you the education process that gets every part of your personality to join the treatment team. And the education process is a sequence of interventions. So you and your subconscious are taught these interventions and making sure that there's, nobody hiding, nobody fearful. All of the parts are wanting to be integrated. So you learn a theory or an analogy explaining how your personality came to be the way it is. So you learn how the personality develops and is the way it is. And then you learn the advantages for treatments and examples for resolving barriers to joining the treatment team and receiving treatment. So these barriers, these parts who become barriers and not wanting to join the treatment team, there's usually reasons behind it. It's usually some kind of fear or something like that. So you go through all of this. So what I'd love for you to do now is, the goal of the education process is, first of all, to get everyone to adopt a common goal and join the treatment team. And so Dr. Garry Flint created a 10-step educational process. And here's basically the process in a nutshell. First of all, you're introducing the process healing method. And so this section describes how to introduce the process healing method to the patient or to yourself. And again, he says, as you're reading the book, and I highly recommend getting the whole book, but start with the first three chapters. And we have that link for you where you can download the first 3 chapters. So introducing the process healing method and describing how it works. And then step number 2 is the formation of the personality. So this section describes how our personalities are formed. And so this information enables these parts or aspects of the personality to feel confident and comfortable enough with the treatment process, because believable explanations are given for the role of memory, the subconscious, and the development of various parts of the personality. So here, information is key. With this information, the subconscious, the unconscious, the whole personality can all make a conscious choice and make an agreement. And then he gets into step 3 are the advantages of treatment. So there may be some aspects or parts of the personality invested in protecting you or the patient or themselves. So there's parts where their role is to protect. And so this section will give all of the advantages to treatments. But sometimes there might be a reason for treatment. And many times, the main reason for treatment is just more happiness or satisfaction and less pain. And sometimes holding on or protecting, the reasons for protecting are not logical. But most of us, the main reason for treatment is to get more happiness or satisfaction and less pain. And then step 4 is introduction to the treatment team idea. So you want these parts to work together, to want their good coping skills strengthened. So these parts have good qualities in them that we want those parts to be strengthened and integrated, and all of the positive emotions to be connected with it, to join with the main personality. So when all of these aspects are on the same page and they join the treatment team, treating the person becomes easier. Step number 5 is removing barriers to wanting treatment. So again, sometimes aspects or parts will have a reason for not wanting treatment. And he goes over in detail some of these reasons for not wanting treatment. But again, the goal is to get each part to join the treatment team. And then step 6 is learning to communicate with the subconscious. So up until this point, we've been talking through the conscious mind to, activate aspects or parts in the unconscious. So remember that mansion analogy where it's dark and black, and that's the unconscious. And then whatever you shine a flashlight on, that is the conscious. So we're working with whatever we're shining a flashlight on in the conscious mind to active aspects that are in the unconscious. So this section teaches you several ways to communicate directly with your aspects and the subconscious. And then step number 7 is assessing the readiness to teach the treatment process. So we're not going to teach the treatment process until all of the aspects are in agreement. And 8, teaching the treatment method. So again, a final check is made, making sure, are there any aspects who, are not on board? Is everybody on board? Everybody wants this, right? So it's a final check to make sure that teaching the subconscious the treatment process will be respectful, for one thing, and all parts that are active. And the subconscious learns the treatment process with a simple metaphor. So this simple metaphor, he says, the metaphor always works. However, other similar types of metaphors will also work. And then step number 9 is resolving barriers to treatment. So sometimes there might be parts or aspects of the personality who do not want to become active during the education process. So when they become active or wake up later, they might become a barrier to treatment. So sometimes you're going through the process, everyone's on board, and then you start to make sure, and then another aspect or part will wake up from the unconscious into the conscious and wake up. And once it wakes up, it could become a barrier to treatment. So this section in 9 identifies and provides solutions for beliefs and other issues that are the reasons an aspect or a part may have for not wanting treatment. And then step number 10 is the first interventions. So the subconscious then learns an aid to improve the speed and quality of treatment. And so it'll give treatment and pause. And depending on how much of this is flooding the current reality, it can take it really, really slow. So this aids in improving the speed and quality of the treatment. And the subconscious is guided to treat some problematic beliefs, memories, and habits that will free it to automatically treat issues in the unconscious as needed. It's very important to know that when you read these sections, if you were the patient, so you're reading these sections, you read a section, the therapist will ask a question, and then the patient will answer. So as you're reading through these sections, as if you are the patient, you will begin to build rapport with all aspects of your own personality. So just reading through this is teaching the subconscious this work. And this will prepare your entire personality to become comfortable with treatment and learning how to treat negative memories without your conscious help, because it's the subconscious doing the work. So what I'd love to do now is go right to the flow diagram. And this is on the website. Here's the link, but we'll make sure you have the link. So we're going to go ahead and go right to the website. So we are at Dr. Flint's website, neilsolteric.com. Neil Solteric Enterprises in British Columbia. And right here is the book, A Theory and Treatment of Your Personality, A Manual for Change. And just go ahead and click on this, and you'll get some information about the book. And again, I highly recommend getting the book, however you buy it, whether you get it directly from his website or just go on Amazon and get it. Either way, I recommend getting the book, but you can also download the first 3 chapters for free. And here is the flow diagram for process healing. Here's the PDF. Here is the PDF. And here is the flow diagram. I'll make it bigger so we can see each of the steps. So we just went over step 1, the introduction. And the introduction being so important because, you know, old painful experiences and traumas, whether they're remembered or not, can continue to be problems in our here and now. In the here and now, old experiences, whether we remember them or not, can continue to affect our daily lives in the here and now. So the model offers a way to organize all of these parts or aspects of your personality so that the aspects want to be treated. They want to work together. They want to have their positive behaviors strengthened. So these parts might have negative memories or emotions, negative things attached to them. But what we're doing, or what the subconscious is doing, is reprogramming these aspects or parts of us so that these parts want to work together and that their positive behaviors are strengthened. The positive behaviors and aspects of this part is strengthened. The negative reactions, the negative emotions, the negative memories are released, but the positive parts, the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding are kept. And the treatment team wants to keep these parts and integrate these parts because it strengthens the whole personality. And they do this to get more satisfaction and have less pain. Isn't that what we want? We all want the main personality in all parts, and every single one of us. Our goal is to have more happiness and less pain, more satisfaction and less problems. So most problems can be treated safely and respectfully. So it's very important that, the power of this model is discovering that the subconscious can learn how to change an emotional issue from having painful emotions to not having painful emotions. This is all done on a subconscious level. You don't have to be thinking about it, wondering if you're doing it right. What's most important is that these parts are agreeing to joining the treatment team, which is you. It's you. There's nothing outside of you that you need other than some guidance and direction on how to do this. So after reading this chapter and following the directions, most people will have the treatment process available to use. It'll be there available to use. So this chapter is all that they need to resolve barriers to their personal growth and remove self-limiting issues. This is so powerful. So steps in the education process teach the process healing method. So the first thing is the education. Educating not only your conscious awareness, but the subconscious on how to do this. So the first step teaches the development of the personality so that you know how the different parts or aspects of the brain work and how the personality works. And then the treatment team members have an agreement. They all agree unanimously. They're all agreeing. Every single part of you is agreeing unanimously to have the subconscious learn the treatment process. This means that all parts, all aspects will vote yes to have the subconscious learn the process. So we're negotiating between the subconscious and the parts or the aspects to continue until the team members have 100% agreement. So this is establishing rapport with all of them. So the formation of the personality, all of the aspects are simply normal parts of your personality that are separated from the main personality. So it's important that you know that it is possible for you and your aspects to get more satisfaction and have less pain in life. So the treatment can be painless because it's teaching the subconscious how to do the work. Very good. So in step 3, show how to get more satisfaction and less pain. And you go into the advantages of treatment. And as you're reading this, the subconscious is picking up all of the advantages to treatment. And it gets more satisfaction and less pain. So step 3 of the healing process is show all of these parts or aspects how you're able to get more satisfaction and less pain. And talk about the advantages to treatment. And also by stopping these intrusions, because these intrusions caused by pain from the past can reduce or eliminate this happiness and satisfaction and get in the way or distort our present experience. And he goes into, you can stop losing time, all of the reasons for wanting to get on the treatment team, show how you can get more satisfaction. And so as you go through, then you're introduced to the concept of the treatment team. In step 4, now we're introducing the idea of the treatment team. And it's important that all aspects of the personality pay attention, because if the idea of the treatment team doesn't feel comfortable or something about it doesn't feel right, he goes into how you can substitute playmates or inner helpers or whatever you want to name them. Any name will work as well. This is where you can, invite in parts of the treatment team to heal the trauma pain, to join the main personality. And it begins to introduce parts on the treatment team that want the trauma pain healed. So you want to integrate these parts and these aspects. You want to integrate their positive emotions to want to join the main personality and want to work in consensus to develop a treatment plan for each part. And so you want to make it clear that the subconscious is not going to learn the treatment process until all of these parts join together. In this process, it shows that we're going from step 4 to step 6 into treat away to access the subconscious. So we're going to teach a way to access the subconscious. And so organizing all of these parts, all of the parts have to be willing to join the treatment team. And so all of the parts who are awake on the treatment, are all of the parts, you ask simple questions, are all the parts who are awake wanting to join the treatment team? And so using muscle testing or a pendulum or however you choose to do it, if you get a yes, you're going to go right to step 7. But if you get a no, you're going to back up to step 5, where you're going to remove these barriers for wanting to join the treatment team. And sometimes a barrier is this part just woke up. So this part that just woke up, are you willing to join? Go through the process again and ask to talk to the subconscious. Review the reasons. Maybe ask if the pain is just too great and it wants to protect the main personality. Maybe this memory will re-traumatize. So there's all kinds of reasons for this part for not wanting to join the treatment team. So as we go through and we remove these barriers, and then this barrier says, yes, I want to join the treatment team. So now step 7, we assess permission from the treatment team to treat the healing process. And again, ask, are there any more barriers? And if barriers wake up, you go back to step 5 and removing these barriers. Go back and ask, is everybody on board? Are there any other barriers? Who might be afraid? Who might not want to join? Who just woke up? If you get a yes, go back to step 5. So making sure that all of the parts want this, because if there's any part that doesn't want it, the whole process is stopped. The entire process is stopped. So once everybody's on board, then you go to a final check to see that all parts are wanting the healing process to be learned. Then if there's a no, go back to step 5, go through that process for each part. For each part. And if there are no more parts, then we get into creating the treatment plan. So we want to teach the treatment aids and treat barriers to obtain this automatic healing. Once everybody's on board, the subconscious knows what to do, and it gets to work in reprogramming and processing these parts and these barriers that are in the subconscious, the unconscious. So once we get into this and removing all of the barriers, it is important to review the reasons for treatment, just to make sure and ensure that all aspects of your personality receive due respect. Everybody gets the attention they need. All parts of you are respected. You're not just going to do something without any one part's permission. So then we get into the subconscious. After we removed all of the barriers, And if a barrier comes up, we go through the process and ask, would you be willing to talk to the subconscious to get all of the information you need so you can make an informed decision about whether to be treated? And as you go through and you have many of these aspects, you may have to repeat the procedure for clearing some of these barriers as they awaken or as they emerge. You may have to go through this process several times, especially in the beginning as the subconscious is learning how to do the treatment. So for people who have been taught to keep the family secret and not communicate, the complement for communication can cause confusion, and it gradually breaks down the motivation for keeping it quiet. And so some of these parts or aspects, they may be staying quiet because they're told, don't tell anybody. And so communicating with the subconscious or communicating with the treatment team starts to break down this motivation for not communicating. So it's a breaking down process and breaking down the negative aspects for keeping this part separate from the main personality. So continue asking these questions. If you get some kind of muscle testing that shows not all aspects are on board with the treatment process. So going through, do you want more satisfaction and less pain? And so it's very important that the subconscious begins to orchestrate the treatment and the trauma parts and follows the direction of the subconscious. Then the subconscious treats a little part of the trauma pain at a time. So the pain is controlled carefully. And we go through and teach the subconscious, if the main personality can just barely feel 100 units of pain, so the subconscious is going to treat maybe 1 unit of pain at a time, or 0.5 units of pain at a time. So the main personality doesn't feel any of it. And so it may treat and then rest, treat and then rest. So it goes through this cycle of treating and resting, all while you're just sitting there relaxed. So your brain might be going, yeah, there's nothing happening. I'm not feeling anything different. But all of a sudden you might feel a lightening, chills up the spine. You may start laughing. You may start have tears coming down your eyes and you have no idea why. All of the work is happening within the background. And so as we go through this and, go through this process of the subconscious that's healing some of these amnesic or dissociated parts, beliefs, memories, experiences, other mental health and physical issues, all of these are being treated through the subconscious. So we want to reduce the chance of emotional flooding in the main personality. So this is why the subconscious is taught the units of pain. Because if the subconscious just starts going in and starts working on all of it, the main personality could be flooded with all of the past traumas, all of the past emotions, all of the past experiences, as if it's happening again right now. So the subconscious is taught how to avoid this by treating a unit at a time and then resting, treating a unit. So the process may be going on in the background for a few minutes or for a few hours or a few days. So depending on what's going on, this is all happening on a subconscious level. The subconscious strengthens all of the positive qualities of these parts before joining the part with the main personality. So we have a part that comes up. It might have negative reactions, negative memories, negative emotions, negative beliefs. So all of these negative parts are released. And the subconscious strengthens the positive qualities of these parts before joining the main personality. And sometimes, The parts might have some fear of dying. It might have fear of losing its knowledge and wisdom and understanding. It might not want to integrate for some of these reasons. And so when you ask the question, do you want to join the treatment team? Are you willing to join the treatment team? We want to get an affirmative yes, so that it is willing to do this. And if there is any no, then we want to make sure we go back to step 5 to remove any of these barriers. We want to make sure we remove these barriers, because again, if any of these barriers are in there in this process healing method, the whole treatment stops. The whole treatment stops. So we want everybody on board. And then we get into the important protective aspects of this intruding part and its knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We want this integrated with the main personality. So this part is sharing information with the main personality, and the main personality is sharing information with this part. And there's an integration process where now this part is no longer interrupting the personality and causing problems. And now it is part of the treatment team. It's a part of the team. And so as we get in and go through these parts and integrating, you will be able to come to a point where you get an affirmative yes. Everybody's willing to join the team, and everybody is willing to get on board with the treatment team. So we have a firm yes. Now, this is the point where we read the metaphor. So coming back to our outline and having an idea of this flow diagram. So the subconscious will now learn how to treat using an internal treatment process. So this is a process that the subconscious is taught, and it's completely internal. That also means that the subconscious is so intelligent, and it's going to know how to do this, that you don't need anything outside yourself. This is the power of this process. You need nothing. So there's no hypnosis, no trance, or any indirect means necessary for this treatment process to happen. And you're alert, you're aware, you're reading, you read it with curiosity. And this treatment process is taught by using a simple metaphor. And the metaphor teaches a treatment process based on thought field therapy. And that's with Dr. Roger Callahan, a tapping therapy developed. It's a tapping therapy developed by Dr. Roger Callahan. And then you're going to learn how to improve the treatment process to get the subconscious to treat issues throughout the day. So you could be doing your stuff during the day, something in your external experience triggers an aspect, and then maybe that aspect woke up, and now the subconscious is going to work right away treating it. And you may think, I've experienced this, where I feel a reaction coming up from this part or this aspect. I'll feel a reaction coming up, and then all of a sudden it's gone. I have no reaction anymore to it. So once the subconscious knows this, you can begin doing this throughout the day, and you know how to treat specific issues. And so now he gets into, once everybody's on board, everybody's in agreement 1000%, everybody's excited to join the treatment team so that the subconscious can do this work. Now the subconscious is read. The metaphor. And here is the metaphor. Are you ready? This is the metaphor, and I'm going to read it to you. Subconscious, imagine the brain is a soccer field, a smooth playing field with no bumps. So when a phobia, a negative belief, a painful memory, or a part becomes active and moves into the playing field, gopher holes pop up in a particular sequence. So imagine you have this playing field, a painful memory or a belief or a negative, something negative wakes up. It creates these gopher holes in the soccer field in a particular sequence. You can create the emotion by remembering the sequence of gopher holes and gradually smoothing the dirt over each hole a little at a time with a feather in the remembered sequence repeatedly until the gopher holes disappear. Then you ask, subconscious, do you understand how to diagnose and treat a painful memory? And usually when I'm working with myself or with others, I get a profound yes. The subconscious gets it. Subconscious gets it. And if a no comes up, that means there might be a part that just woke up and is responding for the subconscious. Because the subconscious understands playing fields, understands a part that woke up and created gopher holes in a particular sequence in the playing field. And the subconscious can see the sequence. The sequence meaning all of the memories attached to it, all of the emotions, feelings, smells, sounds, ideas, beliefs, what we heard, what we saw, what we smelled, what we tasted. All of those things are in a particular sequence melded together. And so you go over that sequence, smoothing it out with a feather, because remember, we're using a feather because we don't want to flood the main personality with these emotions. So this flow diagram, this 10-step process helps you consciously remember, okay, going through step 1, introductions, doing this work with yourself. Look at it and get to the point where now the subconscious knows how to do the work. Very good. So if you experience any of these painful emotions of your practice issue, so you start with a practice issue. A practice issue may be, a fear of speaking in front of an audience. So you can use this practice issue. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that we can talk about how to apply this. You can use this practice issue to teach yourself, teach your healing team, teach your own treatment team, which are all of the parts of the main personality working together as one. So you are the treatment team. And then any parts that awaken from the past, the subconscious begins to go to work on it right away. So if you've experienced these things, you know how to begin to start right away with the subconscious working on it. Very good. And so when the subconscious finishes the treatment, you're going to feel you won't feel any of the painful emotions for your practice issue. And it's going to become less and less intense. So let's say you do a practice issue of speaking in front of people. Let's say when you started, oh my gosh, I'm a 7. I can just imagine myself speaking in front of people and I'm already tripping over my words. I'm already getting sweaty. My heart is racing. I'm a 7, maybe even an 8. And now that your issue is in the main personality, it's in the active experience. Then the subconscious can go to work and it finds the gopher holes in the particular sequence and it begins using a feather to fill in those holes. And we're thinking about the issue, the test issue, it's a 7. The subconscious is now going to work after all aspects are willing to join the team. The subconscious is going to work and now thinking about that test issue, thinking about speaking in front of a bunch of people. You think, oh, wow, I'm not as nervous as I was just thinking about it. Oh, wow, I'm not having the reactions in my body that I was just thinking about it. And checking in now, I was a 7, but I think maybe I'm now a 3. So the subconscious has gone already through and gone through and filled over those gopher holes in the right sequence. No other aspects woke up to stop the process. And you went from a 7 to a 3, thinking about the issue of a benign issue, your practice issue of speaking in front of people. This is the power of this work. This is how, where all of these barriers to treatment, the brain is disorganized and the treatment process is disorganized, and you're bringing this organization together within the mind, within the unconscious and the subconscious, all working together doing this work. And we can learn this. We can learn this so simply. And then he gets into, and this is why I highly recommend the book, because we're only going over the first 3 chapters, and just the first 3 chapters will teach your subconscious how to do this work. From chapters 4 to 10, you get into details on how to work with specific aspects and specific barriers. So that's why I recommend getting the book and reading through the entire book. And if you're a therapist, this is a magnificent tool to work with people, to give people the know-how to do this work themselves and not depending on something outside of themselves, because we really don't need anything outside ourselves. We have the intelligence and the know-how to do this work right within us. Right within us. And this is the power of a theory. And it's a theory. It is a theory, and it's a different theory on how the personality is created. And it's a treatment of your personality, because when our personality is not whole and these hidden parts or aspects of us get triggered and come into our main personality, and these aspects that take over and control the body and start making choices for our life disrupt our life. And it is not bringing us happiness and satisfaction and more joy in our life. And instead, it's bringing worry and shame and wondering about past traumas not being healed and past traumas taking over our current experience. This is a fabulous tool if you experience any kind of post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms of coming in and working with those symptoms and having the subconscious do the work. So I want to thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for being with me in this 3-part series and learning Dr. Flint's powerful work and applying this to yourself and allowing your subconscious to do this inner work and have this treatment process and healing process work within you and to give you more satisfaction and more joy in your life. So what I would love for you to do is please subscribe to our channel so that you get the newest updates. We are working on some wonderful, wonderful stuff for you. So please subscribe to our channel. And if you want to join in with some of the challenges and some of the trainings that we do, please do join our Facebook group on Facebook, Heartfelt Awakening. Thank you for being on this journey with me. Blessings.